Well, Hoosier's here. Hoosier's already made his presence known, so the podcast has officially begun, I think, as soon as you get looked in the face. We've got special guests today on the Fair City Fires Say It Loud podcast, Graham Goetz. That's how you say it, right?
Yep, correct.
That's like a kind of Germanic
Nailed it.
O-E-T-Z spelling.
100%, yes.
Right, Josh Klaus.
Two Germans in the house.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, got Josh and Graham here, both of Fierce Kelly and other numerous projects. Of course, the Fair City Fire guys, Brian, Joe, Brett, I'm Matt, the usual cast of characters. First timers for this podcast, but not new to podcasts, right, Josh?
No, I listen and I dabble.
Josh has already recorded like twice as many podcasts as we have in like half as much time.
I feel like it's easier to do. I feel like this is more difficult just because you have so many people, and especially with like so many funny people, especially on this couch right here. Just like, I don't know how you guys, do you have to like look at yourselves before each podcast to be like, all right, I'm going to be the funny one tonight? Or is there like an ego check that goes on?
It's Matt. It's all Matt.
Good cop, bad
You'd be
cop.
incredibly surprised by how little preparation there goes into this, you know.
Yeah, I just showed up.
Yeah. That's about how things go.
Good. Glad I'm not
We're usually about that way.
only one.
So yeah, we'll talk about the music you guys make, your projects, relationships with the band, and Brian. First, I just got to know, Josh.
Yo.
Whenever I see you, the only thing I can think is, how is this guy so goddamn positive and happy? I just don't understand it. This is the only question I ever have about you is, how can you be this positive? Are you always this kind of like happy? Like, it seems everybody that you're around gets happier being around you. I don't know how do you do it? Like, I feel good now. I was like super depressed today. I don't even know. I was just sitting on the toilet. I had Super Bowl shits coming out, and I was like, what am I gonna make? What am I gonna do today that's gonna make me happy at all? And I couldn't think of anything. And then you come in, and it's like, wow, the world's a better place right now.
I mean, you can keep going.
Yeah, I know.
But, no, I generally feel that way, and I can't say that I point that to anything specific in my life other than that all, this is going to sound really just cliche, but all of my needs are met and all of my wants are being pursued. So there's nothing to complain about. I think the only thing that I ever complain about or I get pissed at is when other people are being pissy. And so I'm like, you have nothing to complain about. Why are you being pissy? And then I get pissy. So it's like this nice cyclical thing. So it's kind of, yeah. So I don't know. I just like hanging around people. People are fun.
Well, that makes sense that you have then. Well, your podcast is House Wine Collective, right? And so there's this almost like fraternal community based around this House Wine, which is an Austin location that serves wine, obviously, and then but has open mics. And you've been an active member of that community. Now, is that where you and Brian met? Or how did you guys meet?
We actually met at Firehouse originally, which is kind of the original hangout for open mic, the open mic crowd. And
But there's even before that, Brian.
Yeah.
Remember that Irish pub?
Oh, yeah. What the hell was that place called?
B.D. Riley's.
That's right.
On 6th Street?
That's
On
where
6th
we
Street.
met.
Oh,
So-
BDs.
So
One
wait.
wild Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think it was a
Something like
Wednesday
that.
night because it was the same. So there's these two guys, Matt and Dan. They played in a band called Waking Fable, and they hosted an open mic at Firehouse. And for some reason, they took a random night off, and they'd come over to B.D. Riley's, which also had an open mic. And I was pretty new to the music scene, but I had been playing for a long time, and I thought I was hot shit. And then I remember I got an hour slot at B.D. Riley's. I'm like, all right, I'm playing on 6th Street. Like, yeah, this is before I knew like what the music life entailed. And then I show up, and then after you play an hour, the open mic starts. So I remember Matt and Dan starting it off, and they played Volcano by Damien Rice, and that was the first time I heard Dan play saxophone. I'm like, oh my God, like, what is this? And then Brian came on and fucking rocked out like he always does. I'm like,
Did I?
oh my God. And so like I felt so compelled to just go up to them and be like, man, you guys are amazing. You guys are so good. And then Brian's like, yeah, thank you so much. And then eventually after that, we then met and started hanging out with each other at Firehouse.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, how does that crew, I mean, it seems like there must be like 20 people in this House Wine Collective or more, and you guys all have maintained some kind of friendship or relationships with each other, and it seems to me like it'd be difficult in the music community to maintain relationships, maybe because of creative interests. I mean, of course, in music, jealousy happens over time between certain people's success or moving on to different projects. But this crew always seems like everybody involved is always really into everybody's projects and goings on. And you seem to have been able to capture that with the podcast.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is about Austin, or maybe it's just this group in general, but we always want to see each other succeed. I don't know what it is about it, but I've always wanted to see everyone be the best that they can be. So in the beginning, when we had Firehouse and House Wine, I think we were all growing just as individuals. And it was almost kind of like, in a way, it was kind of like church. It was like a religion. And everyone came in the community, but then everyone started finding each other, be like, oh, this person would be a great guitar player for this band. This would be a great person to hook up with him as my producer. So then after about a year, when we started doing all those open mics, everyone started kind of doing their own projects. And I think Fair City Fire is they were probably the genesis of anything that was happening. I remember when they started band, everyone else started a band. When they did an album, everyone else started doing an album. So Fair City Fire was always kind of like the leader. And they're like, oh, they're doing it, we got to do it too. Like, they almost kind of paved the way. I always remember, like, there was always like a direct correlation with the actions that they took. You guys start a podcast, everyone else starts a podcast. You know, it's just like, it's amazing how Fair City Fire especially paved the way.
Well, that's what's cool, too. I mean, I know you obviously in the crowd at Fair City Fire shows and supporting them. Be it shirt on or shirt off.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a good
shirt off.
picture in there of like my roommate just on top of Josh Klaus's head, just full arm over him, just like they're both just screaming out the top of their lungs. That's a good picture there.
Was that the tall guy?
That's the tall guys with the crazy hair.
God,
the
wrestler.
Professional
wrestler.
The wrestler.
Isn't that always the case for guys like us, Josh?
It was just awesome.
Doesn't narrow it down.
But you guys were making about the same face though, as far as intensity. So it was just really good. It was too good.
As a man of smaller stature, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Maybe Brian, subtly, don't want to call you out. Joe.
I have a smaller stature as well.
Graham and Brett can sit out of this conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an advantage? I was trying to think of that one day. Like, is there an advantage to being shorter than average?
Yes.
What is it, Brian?
There's low ceilings. I don't have to worry about it.
Right. I guess that's the only. The only thing.
Things look bigger in proportion.
Yeah.
I'd say half the choices.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
I
what
don't
things?
Have to have to worry about the other half. I just say, hey, this demographic right here,
Yeah.
I'm set.
Yeah. Nobody thinks I'm going to beat him up.
That's very true.
Easily
Exactly.
approach
Yeah.
a group of
Threatening,
people.
yeah.
You automatically look approachable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-threatening person.
What, I don't know if airplane seats for me always seem very comfortable.
Yeah.
My tall
I don't
guys,
need to
how does
upgrade.
that work?
Poor tall guys.
Oh, it's like airplanes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
See? I've never had that.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm not in the emergency row, it's pretty tough. You know, and I hit my head on stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know. So
You're like 6'2"?
yeah, I think 6'2". Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think you have to be tall to be a bassist.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in this room,
It
anyway.
seems like a
Or
requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the information I have states that. Before I get too far,
All of your research.
before we get too far, because let's face it, some people aren't going to listen to this whole podcast. I can't believe it. But I just want to
They've
make sure we
stopped
get
listening
the
already right now.
the plugs out quickly. So you guys, Graham and Josh, are in Fierce Kelly, which is a project I've seen in the last year a couple times. Always fun. But you guys will be playing, if I remember, February 17th at Teller's, February 24th at the Highball. Those are your next gigs.
Yeah.
Always a good time. You got strings, horns, drums, multiple vocalists, keyboards. I mean, it's a full show. I mean, you get a treat when you see Fierce Kelly, right?
Treat.
I'd believe so. Yeah.
A real treat.
What do you think, Graham?
I like to think we're a treat. I like to think we bring it, and we want people to have fun. I mean, we have fun. I have fun. Do you have fun?
I have so much fun. I
You
think
look
that's
like you have fun.
Dude, yeah. It's just like I think Brian could probably relate to this. When you're playing solo, I feel like you have to do so much of it on your own. Then when you're in a band, when you get to kind of look back and see someone else do something amazing, you're like, wow, that was really cool. And you just get to have so much more fun on stage.
Oh yeah, you don't have to generate just like this energy out of nowhere, like just yourself. Which is yeah, we've definitely talked about that a little bit on the podcast before, but yeah, it's really cool, like that just like camaraderie, and especially like between songs, kind of banter and stuff. You guys kind of get into that sometimes, I've seen, but we definitely do that.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
A little bit.
Well, I mean, since you brought it up, Josh, I mean, you seem to have a pretty successful solo career. I mean, you have a solo record that just came out. Do you see that as your main gig, being a solo artist, or do you prefer being in a band and the solo thing is something a different way to express yourself, or there's always different facets that you're always exploring?
I think probably yes to both of those. I think I've been doing solo ever since I was 15 years old. So I think it's just one of those.
I started when I was 12 years old.
Ooh, did you?
With solo stuff, yeah.
Oh boy.
Did you get a standing ovation?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a, what's that? Is that extra soap?
Ovation.
It was in the shower, so you can.
Oh man. Yeah, it's
Extra
just
soap.
it's what I've always known, and it really helps to pay the bills.
Right.
And so I feel like Fierce Kelly is one thing that I think it's almost kind of like what I'm betting on. It's almost kind of like with a band, and you just don't make as much money as you do playing solo.
Yeah,
so
no
it's
way.
like, but you know how good it is, and you're like, I know that this is eventually, if the right enough amount of people hear this, and if the right person hears this, then this could like just be huge. But until then, you just do the steady stuff because it helps pay the bills.
Do you still find passion in doing the solo stuff, though?
Oh, yeah. It just, I don't know about you, but you just get into your own world. Like, anytime I see Brian play solo, like, he almost kind of has, like, sometimes this vacant gaze. And I feel that all the time when I'm playing solo gigs. I'm almost kind of, like, lost inside of the music. And because sometimes you just play shows where people aren't listening.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And you have to get over that because you can take it really personally, or you can realize like you're just here to help them maximize their experience here. You're not the main reason why they're here. So if you get past that and you can just kind of develop your craft, practice, and work on it all the time, then it's super enjoyable. So I still enjoy playing each show.
I think I learned that vacant gaze when I played on 6th Street all the time during the happy hour.
The 13 nickel gigs.
Yeah, yeah. I lost all the life in my eyes on stage.
Caged lion.
Every
Was it-
hour just drained life from you.
So, yeah, I'm kind of dead on stage now because of all that.
Yeah.
But I think it helps me.
Well, it must feel like you're a different person, I guess, if you're solo or when you're with a band. I mean, could you get that
Yes.
life from the band? Do you have the same energy performing solo? I mean, do you really want to... I mean, you don't want to be a shitty musician when you're up on stage.
No.
Is that the only motivation if it's in front of people that don't care? It's like, just don't be the worst.
Yeah, no, it's not don't be the worst. It's like you get to try things that you wouldn't normally try.
Yeah.
So you get to be more experimental. Like sometimes like I'm like, I wonder if I could hit this vocal run, and then you do it and you're like, oh, it's really cool. I'm going to do that next time. And then so whereas with you're in front of people in a band and you're performing to them, you focus so much less on yourself and you maximize like how am I going to make these people remember this show and want to come see me the next time. And because I just get, for me, I'm sure every band is like this, I get so energized by a crowd. It's just if a crowd's there and they're having a great time, oh man, there's nothing like that. Feels so good, right, Graham?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I get my energy from for sure. You know.
Oh man, it just feels so good.
Well, Graham, it's a sort of a parallel. I mean, you play the bass, but you're in multiple projects. Do you measure? I mean, do you have a sense of like, oh, this is my main project now, or this is what I'm most passionate about, or I'm writing for this, or this is just kind of like a studio gig? How do you weigh all these bands that you're in, all these projects? I see you all over the place.
Well, I definitely have made it. You know, Fierce Kelly's my main deal.
Good answer.
Yeah. And it's not because I'm sitting here. It's definitely like I believe that, and anybody I play with, that's kind of up front. I let them know.
What does Fierce Kelly do for you that you really enjoy?
The people in the band, the talent,
Yeah. The leg rubs.
the leg rubs, which I'm receiving right now. It's amazing. Thanks.
Oh, is that your leg?
Yep. No, but yeah, just the feeling I get when I play live. It's so much fun. I just have fun and can't help but smile and move around and all that good stuff. So, and it's just it's a good time hanging out on stage, off stage. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. And the other bands, I definitely enjoy the music that I'm playing with them as well. But when it comes time, I definitely want to continue with Fierce Kelly. So.
I guess it's a good thing that both of you are passionate about Fierce Kelly, right?
Ooh, it's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it's the first time being solo. You have so much control over what you do and everything that you do. And being in a band, there's so many different personalities, especially with 6 people. Like the other day, like Graham and I we don't see eye to eye all the time. So like it's one of the first times where I've been like, God, I just want to shake this man so hard. And then but it's a good thing because it's like someone who has this alternative perspective to yourself. And it really challenges you to the way you think, and you try to make yourself think that way. But like it's the first time I've ever had like arguments within a group, but I still love them because growing up in my family, like you just weren't allowed to argue with anybody because then that disrupted the dynamic. So you kind of almost put on this fake like everybody's happy all the
Right.
time. Maybe that's where I get that.
I was
from.
going to ask that.
It's
Like, is it a...
it might be a front.
There we go.
Oh God, I'm uncovering things. So
Oh man, we're
But-
getting
Going
deep.
deep
This is really
Yeah,
an
getting real
intervention.
deep.
I'm glad
to
to brought that out of you. That's pretty
God,
cool.
Graham. But
Everybody else, come into the door now. It's happening. It's happening.
You're too happy, Klaus. But no, I honestly probably think that is where a lot of that comes from. So just being able to be honest and be frustrated with each other, and then still love each other and be like, it's all good. Then that's really great. I don't know if Fair City Fire has gone through that where you guys have just kind of just been upset with each other.
Well, before we move on to that, like, I mean, what kind of things would you guys get heat about? I mean, is it just a creative thing? I mean, is it
Not
about band
musically.
logistics?
It's not music. It's definitely general direction and decision making on that.
like
That's
the
direction.
business end of the
Yeah,
band
yeah,
or something
always.
like that?
It's not the music. The music, we don't really seem to have an issue most of the time.
flows really easily.
Yeah, that should be the easy part, right?
It's the stuff that we don't really know a lot
yeah,
about.
and then we don't want to deal with.
You're
Yeah.
trying to make decisions on, like,
Yeah.
what? Like a music video? Like what? Making an album? Or where?
Yeah, it's if there's like right now there might be a potential like a record deal in the works. And so since none of us have any experience with that, we all have different views on what it should be. Instead of like what I've learned to realize is like go get someone's expertise, to ask them and see if this is a good deal or not, and if they say yes or no, rather than relying on my own inexperience of what I think it should be. And so when you have people who are ignorant on both issues, I mean, we're experiencing that now with politics, right? That happens all the time. Everyone has relative inexperience with certain degrees of a topic, for example, and then everyone expresses their view without any experience or expertise, and then people get pissed at each other because they don't want to learn. They're just like entrenched in their dogma. And so when you do that, then you're bound to get frustrated with each other. So I wanted to learn from
So
each
are
other.
you calling Graham the Donald Trump of Fierce Kelly? Is that what you're doing?
I mean,
This band's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
this band,
Make Fierce
It's gonna
Kelly
be
great
the
again.
best.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Make
tell you
music
folks.
great again.
Well, how about it, Brian or Brett, Joe? Have you guys had, well, it always happens in any relationship. There's disagreements. There's differences of opinions. How do you guys normally handle that?
It usually goes to a vote.
Just
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it.
popular or electoral?
Good question.
Topical.
Topic.
It's
I
usually
think-
discussion. I mean, we
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about things, give our sides, and it's never got it heated. I don't think.
No.
I feel like usually it's like somebody just kind of sees the other side, just kind of
Yeah.
like maybe isn't as into it. Their idea is the other one, of course, sort of just gives in a little bit. There's a lot of give and take with this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like
You got to
Like
choose
you
your battles,
yeah.
right?
like you said, like I feel like people present. They're like, oh well, what about this? Like, what if we thought about it? This, I feel like we're all just presenting different perspectives. It's kind of like what you were saying, like it's somebody else's perspective. Like Josh was saying this. Like
he is pointing at me.
I am pointing at Josh right now, and he was saying that other people's perspectives are important, and that's exactly what happens here. We just present a different perspective and say like, hey, well, it works. That perspective works. If this works, you know what I mean? Like we kind of, and then we go on from there, and then the discussion becomes like a yes, let's do this, no, let's not, and then once it's kind of decided, we kind of say okay, like that's what it is, and now we move on to the next thing. Like,
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it if it ever gets heated, which I don't think it's ever gotten heated, but it usually dies out real quick. With go home, think about it, come back, you'll realize, and talk it out, and it always works out.
It seems like the right ideas always come up to the top anyways,
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's definitely been times like That also helps though too, you know, like that it helps you grow. But there's also been times where, you know, we've just felt like some of us have felt a certain way about a situation where it's just like, I just want to tell this person, like this person has like screwed us over as a band, and I just want to tell this person to just, you know what I mean, just F off, basically. And then a lot of us have been like,
Yeah.
Are we not allowed to
F off.
You better bleep. You better bleep that
all of a
out.
sudden
you F off real hard, friend.
You better bleep that out.
That will fix.
Sorry,
We'll
Joe's
edit that
parents.
post.
Joe's a bad
Can
boy.
you take out F, please? But anyway.
Insert
Please put in
fuck.
fuck.
But, you know, and then the rest of us are like, well, hold on, wait. Like, let's relax for a second. Let's not answer this yet or talk about this yet. Let's just hold on, wait a day, see how we feel in a day. You know what I mean? So those different perspectives also help us in other aspects too, not just music
It
as well.
seems like what you were saying. Most of the decisions where we don't agree aren't musically. It doesn't. I don't think. It's
Yeah, I
really
remember
come
there
down
was a
to
debate
that.
about like the shirt design.
Shirt
That
designs.
was a big one.
There's- yeah. There's usually
Like it seems so like dumb and such a tiny thing, but it's like
Yeah.
we talked about that for a while.
Yeah, a good couple
And it
days.
kept coming
It's
up.
usually,
The
like
great
you were
shirt
saying,
debate
it's
of
just
16.
stuff
Yeah.
that, you know, no one in the band's really that advanced in or knows much about. You know,
Right.
so
Yeah, just what I've learned is just export it to a third party who is unbiased,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
then just
Impartial,
and
yeah.
then either accept or not accept their opinion.
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're ignorant on an issue, and that's okay to be ignorant on an issue, then just accept someone's opinion who is not ignorant.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's always nice too, and AMF is a good resource, which is Austin Music Foundation. They do counseling sessions. So Brian and I have gone. They do free counseling sessions.
That's
I don't know
cool.
if you guys knew that or not.
I did not know that.
That's
Oh,
really
yeah,
cool.
they're
And
great.
it's pretty neat. So Brian and I have gone several times. Joe's joined us once, and
They
so
help
you
you
can
like,
get a lot of
yeah.
good information from someone who's been there before. And a lot of the times too, I mean, you'll go in and you'll learn a lot of great things. It's always been at least we walk out with at least one thing that we're like we can take and go, yeah, that was great. We can run with it. And a lot of stuff we either are doing or stuff that seems like they're like, well, yeah, and you know, in my day, this blah blah blah, and it's like, well, if it didn't work for you then, why is it going to work now? So let's try something different. But then there's always a piece of information that we'll take from it.
And they'll also help you too. Like they'll sit there and tell you, oh, this design doesn't pop on a shelf. You know what I mean? Like they'll talk to you about different aspects of your design, or like the way you're implementing your marketing, or the way you're talking about going about releasing your album and stuff. They'll help you with that
That's
kind
cool.
of stuff too. It's a really cool resource.
Nice.
We should
Yeah.
really tap into that.
But
We should.
Matt's usually my third party.
Yeah, it's
I'll
great.
come home and ask Matt.
Hey, it doesn't feel like a party. I'll tell you that.
Brutal
Matt,
honesty.
Make a
You gotta
decision,
love
Matt.
that.
Matt is the Steve Bannon of Bear City
Oh,
Fire. He's making all the decisions.
I'll tell you what to do with your pregnant wife.
Topical.
Since the start.
Lord.
Um,
God bless America.
So within Fierce Kelly, with that many members, how does the writing happen? How does the arrangement happen? Is there like one or two that provide the direction and everybody else brings in their layers? Or is it different for every song? How do you guys approach it?
It's different, right?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, I think it's cool because everybody, since they all have everybody's got their own projects on the side, pretty much, or they've been solo artists. So one person will bring an idea, a skeleton, and we'll all actually sit down and write lyrics together. It's very inclusive, and then we'll bring the song, maybe just the acoustic or the piano or something. Bring it, and then we'll just practice it, and we'll just work on it together. And it's just very inclusive, and I love that about the band, that we all can put in our 2 cents,
Agreed. And then some of the writing actually just comes from we're just jamming, and then you just come up with a good idea, and then it's like, oh man, we should turn that into a song. So it's the first project I've ever done where everyone contributes something to the piece.
Right.
No one's ever like, I wrote this song. Here are all your parts.
Yeah.
Where I do
No.
know some bands who do that,
Mhm.
and but that's not what we do.
Not at all.
That
That
sounds
feels
very
good,
similar to
Yeah.
what we do.
And that feels good,
Yeah.
right? Like to do that and to
You have more ownership in the song.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, as a band too, like as a full,
Yeah.
everybody
Well,
has a little stake.
Contributing to lyrics, I've never written lyrics in my life. So, and actually being able to contribute lyrics
Yeah.
and have it make sense, that's a good idea. I'm like, wow, maybe I missed my calling. I don't know. But
Yeah.
probably
Nice.
not. I should have just stick to bass. But
Well, you're
no.
writing lyrics.
No,
So, I mean,
it's
obviously
great.
it
No,
is.
It's great. You know.
I always like to give Dan Cohen's our saxophone player, and I always love to give him shit. Like, say words don't matter because he's a novelist by the trade.
Yeah, he writes
loves
books.
I'm like, why are we even writing lyrics? No one ever listens to them anyway.
We
He
should
just
just
gets
make
this twitch.
12-minute
No.
songs with no lyrics.
Yeah, like what's that?
Some kind of
Well,
jam
The
band.
prog rock band like Rush or what's that Flower Child?
You
or-
could even do
Can't remember.
explosions in the sky. You just do explosions in the sky stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
It seems to be a pattern on this show with the bands that we invite on, because it's usually the bands that we enjoy typically, or that, you know, a band that we're play with. But, you know, as you guys know, you tend to book shows with people you like to play with, just
yeah.
for that matter. And it seems to be the pattern where most people come on and say that exactly what you guys said about writing songs. Like it's usually everyone contributes, and therefore everyone takes ownership, like Brian was saying, and you know, and then you create this amazing little piece of work. I don't know, it's interesting, and you know, people really seem to latch onto that and can, you know, like the crowds or people who are watching for some reason, maybe they know it or they don't know it, seem to, you know, they can lean into your idea of writing this great music that moves people. It's pretty neat.
You can always tell when you're watching a band and like some of the members don't like really feel it. Like they don't 100% want to be there in this particular project, you know?
Yeah.
Can you name a band?
Four Non-Blondes,
No,
I would
four-
say.
yeah, four
Everybody else-
Non-Blondes.
Oh man, I agree with
Everybody
you there.
else besides the lead singer.
I agree with you there. Yeah. The other three.
Well, we want to get the crowd involved, and I think the way we write songs, we want it to be as inclusive, not just amongst ourselves, but everybody in the crowd. We want everybody to just sing along or do whatever the hell they want to do. And I mean, I just feel like it comes out on stage to the crowd, you know.
Yeah, I would wonder. I mean, I've seen you guys a couple times, and you guys are very much a live band, you know, however that's defined. Does that go into the songwriting as well? Like, oh, if we write this part will like really like hit a crowd, or is it like, oh, this on a record, this would sound better like if you listen to it over and over?
Yes.
Which one?
Probably
more live.
More the first one.
Yeah, live, yeah.
Yeah, just because at the end of the day, I think you realize that all the bands that you play with on stage are ridiculously talented. And so you have to do something that might separate you from everybody else. So if someone's going to sing along with you, I find that is just like a huge connector to a band. Like just me knowing Fair City Fire's lyrics and being able to sing along is so much more of a connector than me going to a band and be like, they were pretty good, but I can't sing along with that band. So yeah, I always think repeatability, having something like a catchy chorus, not too convoluted lyrics are just super important, because you're able to connect with your audience quicker, rather than, especially since we don't have a product, you know, so we don't have a CD yet. So we don't have a way for people to constantly listen to our music. So our live performance has to be kick-ass, or we're not going to get people to come back.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, doesn't the live performance is what you're selling now. It's almost like the digital product. The album is just a promotion for coming to see you live. So you want to be good live. You want to nail it for the people that are seeing you.
yeah, I've seen so many bands, just like bands who are not in Austin, who are famous, who've had a great product come out, and I go see them. And it's just been so disappointing. Either their stage presence isn't that great, or they just have that one hit song, and the rest of them are just kind of flat, you know.
Or they don't
Tell
deliver
me
like
about
they
it.
do on the album, you know.
What?
They don't deliver, like it doesn't sound as good as the album.
Four
I like when
Non-Blondes.
bands blow me away that sound better than the album.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, well, I agree.
yeah, of course.
But it's just like sometimes a band will write a song. Like one band that comes to mind is a band called Heart of Darkness, and they wrote that song, I Believe in a Thing Called Love. Do you guys remember
Oh,
that
yeah,
song
yeah.
back in the day?
The
Yeah.
Darkness.
The Darkness.
The Darkness,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Heart. That was Joseph Conrad.
Yeah, no,
And
that's a
so-
great album, actually.
Yeah, see, I disagree. And
You
so
don't
I
think so?
thought that one song was
Oh,
not.
yeah, me too. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
It's okay. I thought that one song was not representative of the rest of the album.
Oh, yeah,
so
no, it isn't. Yeah.
yeah, so it was like, oh, this is gonna be like this really like, you know, just, and but it was totally antithesis of it. So maybe I just had altered expectations. So, but yeah, I just remember being let down because I expected this.
When you saw him live.
I
or
actually
just-
didn't see
just
them
to
live.
hear
It was
the
just
album,
the
yeah.
it was just the album versus
Yeah.
the single.
Yeah, there's a band called I had to look it up because I forgot their name.
Joe's in our R&D.
Yeah. But they're called Bahamas, and the song is called All the Time. And it's a great song. I mean, it's got a great beat to it. Like, the harmonies are sweet. You should definitely check it out. But what sucks is that you listen to the rest of the album, and it doesn't sound anything like this one song. And, I mean, maybe that's kind of sucks on me being like, oh, man, this one song.
I know that song.
I like this song. You know that song?
I got all the time in the world. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that part.
Kind of sounds like Black Keys a little bit.
Yes, it does a little.
Yeah.
And it's a great song.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the rest of the album is, like, super mellow. It's like really calm. It just doesn't sound like that song. And that was one of the moments where I was like, damn, like you can have a wonderful song, but the rest of your stuff can like, I don't know, kind of taper off or be a different style or do something like that.
So for you, would it be important if Ferris City Fire came out with another full-length album? Would it be important to have an album with a general theme? Like we're going to have this energy throughout.
I guess.
Or is an album even important nowadays? That's something that I always ask
think
myself.
it is.
Yeah.
Because something that I'm starting to get back into it, listening more music. But when I was growing up, is like you would listen to a full album. And I wouldn't skip songs. I would start to finish. And
It
was
took a
kind
lot of effort back when.
Well, it was fun, though. I don't know, right? I mean, I loved
For sure.
going and buying a CD, tearing off the packaging, looking through the, pulling out the inserts, looking through the pictures, reading lyrics.
Yeah. But I'm
and then
saying
you'd listen.
switching songs and artists and stuff was a lot more difficult back then. You can just do it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's more
because that was an
accessible now,
experience,
yeah.
right?
But it was exactly that. It was like start to finish. It was a journey. It was something cool. So I like that about our album. I like that you listen to it, and then for me, it paints a picture.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
I guess as far as the energy thing goes, I guess it's just my personality. I kind of would rather have like 10 songs of energy in one slow song than like 8 slow songs in one song of energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess that might just be
Totally.
me.
Yeah.
Just wanting that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like the full length. The Canvas People are another band that does a great job, start to finish.
Definitely.
A local band, and then
They've
they're
put like
amazing.
inner inserts in their music. Like it feels like one half of the album is one way, and then they put some stuff in there that's, I don't know, kind of some crazy sounds, crazy technical stuff, and then it sounds like you're almost starting like a whole nother chapter of the album. Kind of. It sounds. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a story. Like what you're saying, it's like the whole thing in a whole is a story, and you need those little intermissions to kind of connect the whole thing.
right. Yeah.
Well, what makes it interesting is, we kind of live now in the era of the single. We definitely do. And, when you're writing songs, do you write them to fit this album? I mean, do you write it the best, like, oh, this is the best way we can write the song? Or is it like, oh, if we change the chorus to this, it's going to have a little more pop influence, and people might catch it more in the crowd if we play it? Or do we do it this way that I think we want it to be, and it'll fit better on the album? I mean, how do you make decisions like that when you're writing songs?
I think just from listening to music, from my whole life, what I've noticed is that no matter what era you go back to, there's always going to be a realm of the single. Like, there's always those flash in the pan people who come by and they get quick success, and then they get on, and they can't maintain that success because they don't have a repertoire either of experience or just creative juices. What I've noticed with bands that have somewhat longevity, like their general starting point of actually getting on the map of people oh, I've heard of that band, is probably between 8 to 10 years nationally. Like there was a band called it's a band now called Fun, but there was the band, they were called The Format prior.
Oh yeah.
And
shout out to The Format.
Dude, so good. But they just had such a long journey. I just remember going to see them at Antone's, probably with like 200 to 300 people. And then going to see Fun before their second album where they really blew up with Some Nights.
Yeah.
And it was just inside stage at Stubbs. I remember the lead singer came out and sang with my brother and I. It was fun. But then they just, it was amazing.
The cool thing was that because I think I went on that tour too. They came to Houston, and I was also on that like record or that tour before they had Some Nights and all that stuff. And the cool thing about that was that Fun record, the very first one that came out, was actually old Format stuff.
Right.
Yeah, as you know. And so, like, it felt like a Format concert, I feel like, more than a Fun concert at that time. And then it became...
Right, and so they had this steady following of fans, and they had so much time just to, like, perfect their craft over and over and over again, so that when their number got called, honestly, I think a lot of it's down to luck. that they were ready.
Yeah.
And they were ready to deliver at that moment.
And then even Nate said that. The lead singer, Nate Roos
Roos,
or whatever, he was like, it only took 10 years to get here. Like, after they won that Grammy, he was like, it only took 10 years to get here. Because, I mean, they really have been doing it for about 10 or 12 years before anyone ever found out, like, they were a thing or did Grammys or anything. You know, you're right.
It's true. And people think, like, oh, they came out of nowhere. It's like, no, man, if you only knew.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I imagine, Fierce Kelly or Fair City Fire 10 years from now when we are accepting our Grammys.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, man, you guys, like, did you just write that song overnight? It's like, man, you have no idea.
Yeah, right.
Like how many crappy tours we went on, and how
Yeah.
many vans broke down, and how many.
That's funny. I was talking to somebody about that with Spoon the other day, and I know I've talked about it on this podcast before, but Spoon's been around for 20 years. Like they've been playing in Austin for about 20 years now, and they just recently got to where they are, and I just feel like they've been doing it such a good time. It kind of shows like just keep pushing along. But it also shows that, like, man, that's crazy. They've been through all that stuff, and then now
I have
they're
such
here
a
where they are.
great Spoon story. So I remember going to see them for the first time. They were at South by. They were on like the main stage at Zilker. And I remember after I saw them play, I was going to get sushi with my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. And I remember I always like to eavesdrop on millennials' conversations because they say the most ridiculous shit. And so I remember she was sitting. It was a girl, and she was sitting right behind me. And she's like, "Yeah, I wanted to see Spoon. I don't really know any of their music, but I at least wanted to say that I've listened to them." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
No.
Like,
That
and
sounds
just,
like South by.
it just makes me. It
sounds
made
like
me.
South by.
It made me
They're
hurt
like
so
mono.
bad. It was the same year
That's
that
ACL for sure. Flannels. And
Charles Bradley. Austin.
It reminds me of like when
Man.
people going to Coachella. They're like, I'm going to Coachella. You know, it's just like it's
Yeah.
not even about the music.
It
it's
annoys
about
me
the
so
fact
much.
that they're going.
And it annoys
Yeah.
me.
Just make
That-
sure we.
But that has always been. I remember going to a Goo Goo Dolls concert, and I remember there was chatting with this cute girl. I was 14, so I was obviously gunning for it. And so she was sitting in the front row. I was like, "Man, how'd you get these concert tickets? You must be like a huge fan." She's like, "Well, I know that song Iris," and I was like, "Oh my god, I wanted to punch her, but then
No.
I also wanted to kiss her, so I didn't know what to do, so I just walked away."
Punch kiss.
Sounds like the perfect girl.
Punch kiss.
Sounds like the perfect girl.
It's where you
Is that
serve
what you're
her up
looking
with
for?
a beverage, and then you
Girl,
kiss
you
her.
can punch
her
and
with
you
your
can
lips.
kiss.
And,
Yeah, it's a juice. It's
Matt
a juice.
sometimes
Punch-
gets punched
Punch kiss.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's
by
cheese,
girls that he
guys.
likes.
No, I only get punched by girls. That's my thing.
Oh my goodness, he does.
A little lower and a lot softer.
Are you guys thinking about? I mean, what's your 2017 calendar look like? You're trying to put an album. You're going to try to go do some touring as Fierce Kelly. What do you have planned?
Go ahead, Graham.
We're definitely looking to record an EP of 5-6 songs. We have someone interested in getting that going for us, and yeah, we definitely want to get it out there as much as possible. We want to get that album done. We want to play out as much as we can, at least good quality shows. And if the road calls, then that would be a great thing to do. So that would be in the cards as well if that comes up. So.
Yeah, I think my goal probably this year is get an EP out, get into South by next year, and just anything. And I think
ACL would be cool too.
that'd be pretty amazing.
Yeah, just do that. Do that one. Yeah.
yeah, we'll just do ACL. But I'm starting. Yeah, I think those are great goals. I think realizing that opportunities to do things that are great have a very, very small half-life, and to make sure that you capitalize those, and you can't think too much about them because someone else will jump on those opportunities. So just, especially with 6 people, coordinating all of your schedules and just making sure that all works out. But right now it's fun. Hoping to make a career out of it, and that is also very daunting. Just because
Emotions run high.
yeah, emotions run high and things are expensive, and when you
Heard
put
that.
when you put your eggs in one basket, it can be a little nerving. It can be a
Oh,
little
man.
unnerving.
A musical
You could
basket's way
afford
more
eggs.
expensive too than a regular basket.
Oh, I have no idea.
I kind of want to, get a little bit serious, but from a creative perspective, in that we're now 2 weeks into some severe political kind of turmoil in our country, and I'm kind of wondering how that is going to inform the creative process and art in our society. So I think without alternative facts or any kind of my own opinion, it's clear that right now the political state is negative, and there's a sense that the current administration is failing many people, and that's gotten a lot of response from people I know on Facebook, on social media. But I'm curious to see how that's going to move forward in terms of how people are going to be creating art. And just, I know it's only 2 weeks, but have you guys given thought to the idea that whether or not this will inform your creativity, or you'll write songs specifically about what's going on right now? Or do you have any strong feelings now that you need to release through the way you create?
Yeah, I mean, this could be our first and last EP, you know. It's a joke, but you know what I mean? But just writing.
Put a ban on all EPs.
Like, we got to do this, man, because who knows? You know, we may not be allowed to tour and play music. Who knows? No, but seriously, I think with the positive energy that we try to bring into our music, I want to do it even more. I think now more than ever, people may need some positive stuff to listen to, and really going out and having a good time takes on new meaning at this point, because there's so much negativity going on. It doesn't matter what side or whatever you believe. I mean, I think it's just negative everywhere. So pulling out the positivity where we can is very important.
I think that's a good approach. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think for Fair City Fire, at least from my perspective as a songwriter, it's like I've never been afraid to like talk about, you know, issues like that. You know, like Uninformed Platform, I think is a good example of that. Just like, you know, how I was feeling about people like just spouting out about just stuff they don't really know about, and you know, and obviously that's going on now. But I think I could definitely see another song like that coming out, and I think that's important right now. I think that art just talks about things like that, you know, addresses the real things, you know, instead of, I don't know. There's two schools of thought with that. You know, we could just have fun, have a party, just release for a little while, and I think that's great, you know, and I think that's a good perspective. But I think there's also that like thought-provoking side that might make people see things a little bit differently. That I think that's where I want to fit in to that.
We've got a song we wrote recently that kind of goes along with what Graham was saying, with just bringing positivity and love
That's
and music.
True. Yeah.
And being able to share that with people. So that, I think, is very important to have that just that feeling of where you can kind of just rely on each other. It doesn't have to be political. You know, at this point, there's so much going on. It's nice to just to sit back and relax and love your neighbor, you know, sort of thing, kind of, you know, hug somebody, you know. But it, you know, it is nice to also go where Brian was saying and take it to a deeper meaning and thought of if you want to get political with it.
I think it's funny because I feel like there's two songs that we've written recently. One called Love and Music that is, that's that, you know, it's definitely a more upbeat, you know, take on everything. But then I feel like we've also written another song called Fault Line. And I feel like it's not political. It's not a political song at all. But it's definitely a darker look at indecision and kind of unweary feelings about where you are at a certain time. You know what I mean? So I feel like we've definitely in the last couple weeks I think we've put a song on both sides of those. One that's fun and one that's also like kind of like deep and looking into certain things that, you know, take a lift of a rock to look under. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I feel like we do both sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's always, I'm surrounded by people who think very similarly to me. So I'm always kind of in this mindset that, oh my gosh, you know, everyone's thinking that the country's in turmoil. But I always think like, wow, there's 50% of people out there who are like so happy. You know what I mean? They're like so happy. Like finally we have a non-PC president who is saying and doing all the things that we wanted somebody to do for so long. And he's spouting off these numbers that are finally corresponding with the things that we knew all along despite doing zero research. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, so I always think, I've been thinking about this recently. I'm like, I wonder if this is how people on that side
they must have felt
when Obama was in presidency for 8 years.
The world was ending.
And I remember like hearing on radio podcasts or anything like that where people were like, yeah, when I heard Obama got elected, I started crying. Like I was so upset. I'm like, wow, really? I was so happy.
Yeah.
So it's just, what happened when Obama got elected is that we had, the Tea Party come out. We've had a huge resistance, right?
Yeah.
So, what's to say that that's not going to happen on the other side? Of course not.
It's already starting to
Yeah,
happen.
exactly. Because people feel compelled because their beliefs and the way that they think that the country should be run is not being enacted. So whether you do it personally or politically, if you feel compelled to act, whether by writing songs or getting engaged, hell yeah, man. I mean, it's the best way to get back what you feel like that you lost. Like I think a lot of people, especially in our friend group, are feeling like, wow, 8 years of really hard work is like slowly being dismantled, and how can we extract some type of positivity from this? And I think what we do really well is we write music, and whether it's an escape, like you said, from reality, or if it's a reminder of the reality, I think both of those are viable options.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd agree with
Yeah.
Well, in the spirit of positivity and Donald Trump, I think it'd be fun. Like you guys, you remember a few years ago, Donald Trump got roasted on a Comedy Central?
Yeah.
I think that we should do that, except we should do like an anti-roast of Trump. So
Okay.
I think we should go around the circle and everybody say something nice about Donald Trump.
Okay. Cool.
I don't want to start this.
He loves encouragement, by the way.
Loves encouragement. That's a good one. That's a good
Knock
one,
it off,
Graham.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do honestly think that he's actually very funny. Like I honestly do think that he's really
He's
funny.
hilarious. Good.
Yeah,
There
and
you go.
he, like anytime I see him, I think at the end of the day, he kind of wants to be that buddy president. That he makes jokes about Arnold Schwarzenegger at the prayer, and he's like, yeah, your ratings. Like I'm sure that was just a dig,
breakfast.
but everyone, unfortunately, because we're all pissed off right now, I'm turning this into a rant. I'm sorry, but we all take it too seriously. Like it's Donald Trump, man. I mean, like. Just laugh at the guy. Like, if he does some policies that make you pissed off, do something about that. But if he makes fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger at the prayer breakfast, that's like hilarious.
It's just there were other presidents that were so cool about their jokes. I
Yeah.
feel like he's so stiff about them. He's like, ha. Wasn't that good?
He's also
That was a good one, huh?
that makes me
75 years
laugh
old.
so
Came up with that on my own.
I mean, he was in Home Alone too. That's another great
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Brian, you're next.
Oh, you're taking all of them.
Sorry, dude.
I'd say he's aggressive, which can be a good thing.
He knows what he wants.
Yeah.
Tells it how
I believe he brought Audio Slave out of retirement.
Raise
That was
Against the
good.
Machine.
3 Doors
So
Down.
even
Good.
Zach De La
3 Doors
Rocha
Down,
will,
right?
3 Doors
I thought Audio Slave came out of retirement too.
I don't think so.
No,
Oh, you mean just to write
they played a concert recently, I think,
for him?
because of
Against
him.
it. Oh,
against,
Tom Morello and
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
I
see
heard it
that.
on the radio the other day.
That's a great reason. Yeah.
That's a good reason.
I'd say, my first answer was determined. I'd say he's determined to do a few things, but my other thing would also be uniting in the sense that there's a whole other group of people who are united because of him.
Yeah. Well, that's a
so
great
you know,
reason. Yeah.
determined and uniting. Sure.
Matthew, did you?
I'd say he's got a hell of a lot of self-esteem. Yeah. And that's, it's important these days with kids getting bullied at schools, It's like they can wake up each day and know, hey, I can be a shit and everybody will still have to, think I'm important. So,
And you know what? I'll also say he's a good listener because he listens. He listens to everybody else, and including the Matt Jones of his cabinet, Steve Bannon.
That's a good way to end it, I think.
Yeah, he also listens to all the other government agencies when making really huge policies.
Yeah.
It's really he takes the advice from everybody.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a good listener. Yeah.
He's a
Right.
good listener.
He, he does take good points out of an awesome playbook, the Obama playbook, when it's convenient. So that's cool.
We just love half our listeners, everybody.
Now there's only 3.
Change topics real quick. I think you were about to end it, but before we do, I was wanting to know. Go ahead and name the rest of the members of the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's, like I mentioned before, there's Dan Cohen, who's a saxophone player.
Daniel Fears, he's our trombone player.
Yeah, shout out.
Killer trombone.
Absolutely.
Killer.
Mhm.
There's Claire Elise Glover, who is
Yeah,
our
yeah.
keyboardist and also lead singer.
And then Joel
yeah.
Klaus, Josh's little bro.
Oh my God.
He's got that
Amazing
booty.
smile and such a tight beat.
Dude, does a tight
No,
ass.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
butt.
I was
but
gonna
changed
say,
with beat. Did you like
does
that?
the booty run in the family? Does your dad have an ass like
he
you two?
doesn't. It's crazy.
It comes from your mama. What your mama
She
gave
really
you.
doesn't either.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
where
You
it
boys
comes
have
from.
nice
What-
butts.
What
I
your
tell you
grandmama
what.
gave you then, I guess. Grandpapa gave you. I don't know.
I don't know where it comes from, man. Honestly, it's weird. My
One
dad's
day-
got
but
like
thank
black
God it
belt.
One day
happens.
you're gonna see,
Dude,
like
it's
you're
all
gonna
about
go.
that bass,
Where's
huh?
your like origin? What's your origin?
You mean like country-wise?
Yeah, countrywise. like,
Czech and German.
German.
from?
One day you're gonna go to Germany and you're gonna go into this great hall, this historical hall that's been there for 200 years, and you're gonna go in and there's gonna be a picture of a guy with a fat ass, and you're gonna be like, and at the bottom it's gonna say Klaus. You're gonna be like, holy shit, I look just like that guy.
Just one name, like one word name.
yeah, just
Klaus.
Klaus.
It means fat ass in German. I just walk into Harlem and I just and
And
like,
there's a picture-
that's my butt.
There's a picture of you there too.
Yeah.
Josh, for once and for all, tell us where your little brother got his ass. What is it? So what's it like to play with your brother in a band?
Well, my brother.
Well, really? I mean, yeah, I'm curious. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you guys don't ever butt heads at all?
He
No,
is,
no, but no pun intended.
Ah,
from the
butt
butt,
heads.
but,
he is one of the most relaxed and chill people I know. And he is just my best friend. So I think we've only gotten a fight once, and that was over a girl way back in the day. So he's just one of the most amiable people I know. So
He
it's
makes
very
me feel
easy.
like an asshole, because he's so nice.
Oh, I know. He's so nice. He smiles after everything.
I know, and I'm like, why are you smiling? This is not a funny or happy moment right now.
so it runs in the family.
Yeah, it's
kind of
great.
everything's
It's-
okay.
It's infectious in a good way,
Yeah.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Because I think your darkness comes out in your music, your solo music, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
The Heart of
course.
Stone is the album.
Uh-huh.
JoshKlausMusic.com.
Thanks,
You can
buddy.
buy
Good
it
plug.
there. But that first song was super Ghost.
Yeah.
So this is the way I was listening to it. It seems like he's on your deathbed, you're asking your wife of a long time to die with you so you can go together.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't mean for that at
Okay,
all.
no, okay.
I'm so sorry.
That sounds so dark now.
No,
Oh,
there
yeah,
are
me
there are
neither.
a couple of songs of that album that are really dark just because I got my heart broken, and then when
Right.
your heart's broken, it sucks. But no, that song's like because I'm so in love with my wife that when if I die, I'd want to come back as a ghost so that I could always be with her, which sounds kind
You
of
want to be
creepy.
your Patrick Swayze?
but yeah, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that song that they? Oh, my love, my darling, I hunger for your touch. How long, Lord?
I need your love.
That was fucking great.
I need your love.
Acapella group.
I mean,
Please bring your love
so
to me.
yeah, so that's the whole song. It was just based on this idea that when you are with someone for so long and you still want to be with them, that you kind of want to do something physically unobtainable to make sure that you want to be with them forever.
Isn't that the best way you could live? Like, just find someone to spend the rest of your life with, and you're 100, be like, hey, let's just do it right now.
Romeo and
We
Juliet,
won't tell the kids or the grandkids. yeah.
Notebook
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Do this.
Drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. That's what we all want, Matt.
That's
That's-
love.
we all
That's
want to
what
find
love
someone
is.
that we can
Love.
commit
That's what
suicide
we
with.
want, yeah.
Drink the Kool-Aid
Go
with.
straight to hell with, huh?
Lovers. This is lovers Kool-Aid.
Well, cool.
Oh no!
Don't go to
drink
Joe's Kool-Aid
Yeah,
stand.
yeah.
Don't go to it.
That seems like the right place.
Lovers Kool-Aid.
I would agree.
Kool-Aid.
All right, Graham, Josh, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thanks
we do.
for having us.
We'll see you
course.
February 17th, right?
17th
Here's
or the
Kelly,
24th
or
if
the
your
24th.
schedule's busy.
And for right now, you said just follow you on Facebook, I think, right?
Yeah,
Here's
Facebook.
Kelly.
Instagram.
Hopefully this will be the
Instagram.
year where all of our other stuff comes to fruition.
Good.
Cool.
We look forward to your fruition.
Yeah,
Thanks.
go see
Thanks.
him. Dudes rock
Yeah,
it.
check 'em
Dudes
out.
and dudes and lady rock
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome show for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Fair City Fire Boys, anything coming up? that you wanna-
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah, it's miserable existence.
Are you guys ready to announce a new guitar player yet? Should we? Is that
Uh,
gonna
we
be
are.
the
I
next
think you should
podcast,
check
maybe?
out for the
Yeah,
next.
yeah,
I
I
think you
think,
should wait for the
uh,
next podcast, and we might just have a little something for you.
Okay.
Joe said it.
Joe
There it
said it.
is.
Joe took over. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking charge.
I was
Joe.
gonna say it, but Joe put a
Hey,
kibosh
let's
on it.
save it.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Everybody's listening.
How often do people
Everybody's
put
listening.
kiboshes on you?
I mean, all the time.
Jeez,
You have no. My life is one big kibosh.
You should see his Gmail. You should see his Gmail. There's a lot of kiboshes in that one.
Cool.
Message not received. All right. Thank you
Kibosh.
guys.
Let's put a kibosh on this.
Yeah, let's put a kibosh on this. Thank you guys for coming on. Graham, Josh, Pierce Kelly. See you
Thanks,
later.
guys.
Word.